we're leaving each community and asking each group that comes to see us to mobilise together, because we're trying to spread the word nationally. But you know, a political party, no, the party system has failed Ireland. It's more of a much more collective movement, really, I think. I mean, Seamus may have different eyes, but
just Michael on that. I would have loved to mention NAMA. It's a pet subject of mine. So it's no, it's not working, is it? Hello? Hello? Hello, Michael. I would have loved to mention NAMA. It's a pet subject of mine, as is our natural resources. But the answer for everyone's talking about the wind farms, what you're talking about is 4 words: Fianna Gael, Fianna Fáil. We have got to change it.
Yes.
I made a suggestion with regard to the Senate.
Yes.
I think we need to do something that we can do, something that's possibly achievable. There's enough of Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Labour and Sinn Féin and the rest of them in the Dáil. So leave them there and let the public, we need to take over the Senate. It needs to be our place to hold the government to account.
I think that's true. I'm sorry. Many years I've always heard we need to change, we need to change, we need to change. I've been 26 years out of this country, and I understand the illusions. I'm coming back and being told we've so many helicopters and we've so many cranes now in this country. We really are top. And I used to saying, and I got into lots of arguments about it. Because I've been in other countries, I've seen great health systems in third world countries that are better than in Ireland. I've seen great schools in third world countries that are better than in Ireland. And no, you're wrong. You haven't a clue what you're talking about. So I think you're going to have to get something that's really solid and be a credible force, because else you're just going to be seen as some kind of
Thanks.
You need to have something that maybe 60 solid people behind you.
We need to focus more on solutions. You know, how can we do this? I know you're saying, you know, take over. How do we do it? How do we do it? Like, every single one of us can tell a story. I can tell a story. We can go around here. We could be here for 12 hours. I've been saying the only power we have is the political, our vote. I've looked at it for years, and the only power that I have is vote. And I know, Hilary, you shook your head. But I really think we have to dilute the government or the Senate, but we need to know how. Because I work in the public sector and I tell them about the corruption and they look at me as if I've 10 heads. What are you talking about? Because the media, as you said, are not informing the people. And so therefore, you know, and I would talk about Germany and Sweden and Switzerland, and they'd say, oh, there you are, going on about Scandinavia. But then when it hit a girl that had autism, she turned to me and said she'd an autistic child. She said, Eileen, you were right, I'm not laughing at you anymore. She said, if I was in Finland, I'd get A, B and C. They laugh at me. They laugh at me. They think I'm a nut. Because it's not affecting them. So how can we get it out to the people that this is what's happening in the country? The numbers that you spoke about, nobody knows about those numbers because the media are not telling us. So everyone is in the dark. Everyone is in the dark. They don't know what's going on.
On social media now, and social media is informing that.
But the young people are more on the social media, and a lot of them are probably...
Increasingly older people are.
Yeah.
But there is a solution, is that
the solution?
The solution is Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, they've had it for 80 plus years, it's over for them.
Yes.
Get them out.
Yes.
And any of them who are clean, who still want to associate with either of those parties, get them out too. Any politician who now associates themselves, they're new, you know, if they're new and young coming in and they're going into either of those parties, I'm sorry, they might look and sound fantastic, but no, if they want to be associated with those parties, they can't be trusted. What I'm saying to you is to field new candidates within your communities who are talking about, number one, corruption. Corruption. That is if they're not talking about corruption, because corruption it's the squandering of your taxes, and that's why it's all going haywire and we end up with so many people on trolleys and on waiting lists, because the money is not being used appropriately. So that, I think that's a straightforward solution. Stop voting for those two parties, obviously Labour as well. Soc Dems, very disappointing, very disappointing. But independents who are talking about corruption, they are in Waterford, you have to hunt them down. That's my opinion. Do you want to?
Hello, my name is Karen, and I'm a member of the support group, parent-led support group Regret. We have. Sorry. Okay. Oh, right. I'm representing hundreds of parents from the parent-led support group Regret. Our children were all perfectly healthy before they were given the HPV vaccine in first year in secondary school. Now, when my daughter received that was a black label or a black triangle product. We were never told that. The symptoms that the children are all presenting with now are all detailed as possible side effects by the manufacturer on the patient information leaflet. The HSE is withholding that patient information leaflet from the parents. As a group, we have made two requests and two requests only. One, that there is an independent investigation into what happened to our previously healthy daughters post-HPV vaccination. And the other request is that the patient information leaflet, as supplied by the manufacturer, is given to every parent prior to signing consent. Both these have been refused. Now, the media and politicians, etc., have all, been very favourable initially. And all of a sudden, there was a shutdown. There is a total media blackout on all our children. A lot of these children are now, like my daughter, up to 8 years, completely incapacitated, bedridden, in serious pain. They are getting no help from anyone. The HSE will not acknowledge them. If they're not acknowledged, there's no treatment protocols. And this is going on and on and on. And still, the vaccinations are about to start now in this September coming. Regret have never asked for the withdrawal of the vaccination or that, or have said it's a bad vaccine. The fact is, not every medication suits 100% of the population. There will always be side effects with every medication and vaccine. It's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate for us, but this is where we find ourselves now. We have no place to turn with these children. I myself have taken my daughter to Germany to try and get help. Other people have gone to America, the Czech Republic. And we are, on top of all our woes, we are being trolled viciously, as you have experienced. Once Gemma mentioned the HPV vaccination, she was trolled heavily. They're out, like hand dogs. And you've got to ask yourself why. Oh yes, we're emotional terrorists. No, that's what, Tony O'Brien, former head of the HSE, called us. We are desperate parents seeking help for our children. No more.
But you know what's behind it, don't you?
Yes.
Big pharma.
Yeah. This is where we are, and there's probably people here tonight that don't even realise they have a child, a relative injured, because the information is not being put out there. The symptoms are, or some of the symptoms are, chronic fatigue, all over body pain, joint pain, muscle pain, menstrual difficulties. Some of these children now have been diagnosed with ovarian failure. Some of them are infertile. Some of the girls who were vaccinated against the HPV virus now have had smear tests, and they are clear for the strains they were vaccinated against. But we all know viruses mutate, and they have been diagnosed with more aggressive strains of the HPV virus. And all this information is being withheld from parents before they sign this. You get a nice glossy brochure home from the school, but the full truth and the full facts are not on it. And we all know the HSE are guilty of withholding information before. They're doing it again. And worse, they know children will be injured. The chairperson of the National Immunisation Advisory Committee has said, and it is documented, you'll find it on, if you Google it, he has said 3 in every 10,000 will suffer serious side effects from this vaccine. Now that correlates perfectly with the reports sent into the Health Product Regulatory Authority. They have 1,138 reports from parents and people injured by this vaccine. And they have classified 680 as serious. Now, that's your 3 in 10,000. So, what's going on, people? Why are they letting this happen to children? And there is no duty of care, no responsibility, and no accountability. No.
Is there any local journalist here? It was heavily advertised.
That's my point. I
Yes.
was run public meetings
Can I
over
just tell you, I did invite Amy to want you to.
Did you?
Oh, yes,
Did you?
you can't take it. We've run public meetings.
I invited something well, they were all invited. So
When it's something that hurts a local plutocrat, nobody turned up. That's my 22 years ago.
also just tell you, all the local councillors were invited,
Yeah.
all the TDs were
Same.
invited. There is one, Joe Kelly is there, I saw down the back, yeah. I got apologies from 4.
Well, it's our fault. I'm an outsider living here for the last 25
Oh,
years.
sorry,
30
Sean, I
years.
didn't see you there. I beg your
It's
pardon.
our own fault that we're
Can I
tolerating.
ask you, would you like to see RTV here tonight?
Anybody that will tell the truth and put
Well, I
in.
did invite you.
You should be demanding the media turn up at these
Well, you're paying his wages.
Well, it's up to you.
That's
guys.
exactly it, we are paying
It's your own fault, Waterford.
My name is Seamus, I'd be self-employed, I've been in more groups than
Yeah.
I care to tell everyone. A is about the only one I haven't been in yet, but it's coming close. I'd like to congratulate everyone in the panel tonight, fantastic talk. On a personal level, condolences to yourself, and I'm sure Molly is very proud looking down. Another person then, Hillary, I'll back you. I'll go with you. I'll walk around with you, no bother at all. But back to it. Look, there's serpents in the world, and how you kill a serpent is you cut it off at the head. These politicians, our past and present, are draining our system of wages, pensions, their own, and that's how it needs to stop. And that's the only way the people of Ireland will get behind it, is if there's a force put in place for our politicians to be ousted. I don't know how to do it. I wouldn't be educated as well as most people in the room, but I'm a hard worker and I have been, and looking around, so is everyone else in the room. So I can't understand why we put up with it. Why do we let Bertie Ahern get his pension every week? Why do we allow that? I just don't understand that. Why can't there be a petition put in place, every person in Ireland sign it, we walk to the Dáil, hand it in and say, out. We're putting these 4 in place. Michael O'Leary might be a good one to put in there at the start, just to filter it through. Look, I don't know, I don't have all the answers, but there's a lot of things here to say. Personal stories were told there today. There was a couple of comments made that I wouldn't sit down in a room with a Garda. I've said that about bankers, yet we're sitting here with a banker. I also know Gardaí who are in the same trouble as ourselves, with banks and mortgages and whatever, it doesn't matter. We're all people, we're all individuals. We all have to stick together. We're Gardaí, doctors, solicitors, they're all in trouble. Every single one of them. I just need to get together and stick together. And that's it. That's all I have to say.
Hello, my name is Coleman, and I'd like to thank you all for your contribution tonight. I suppose we all realise the problems, we want solutions. I'm a member of a group called NT Addiction Task Force, where we go around and help people who are in trouble. And the symptom of corruption in families today is alcoholism, family breakups, mental illness, and that's what really numbs us down. I'll just have a proposal for you, gentlemen, in a second. There was a bench particularly standing out in Clare in the last couple of years where an ill man was being evicted, and the court system employed a Limerick drug dealer with 5 non-nationals to evict this man with balaclavas. It got some Facebook coverage, but when it was sent to GSOC again for investigation, they came back recently and said that they found nothing wrong with guards evicting people from their homes. So, Jim, I would just ask you, you remind me of Veronica Guerin for your bravery, and we need more people like you to be that brave. Did you ever consider setting up a newspaper yourself, having a journalistic background, so that all these messages can be relayed to the public?
Well, I think compared to Veronica Earings, I think more Veronica, she was heavily involved with criminals and very dangerous individuals. I believe Veronica was murdered by the state because she was getting far too close to some of the state's very dirtiest secrets. And I've no doubt that what you're saying is true, that the Gardaí are colluding with criminals. I mean, we have a really brave whistleblower, Nicky Keogh, in the Midlands. In Athlone, he was based as a Garda in the drug squad, and he is going to be coming before the Disclosures Tribunal in the next few weeks, where he will be talking about collusion between members of An Garda Síochána and heroin dealers. Now, just in relation to the previous speaker, I know what you're saying, and there's some decent guards, and we all accept that. I mean, nobody's saying otherwise. But it's time that they started to blow the whistle. They're too quiet. We only have 4 or 5 whistleblowers. The force is rife with corruption. And, I really believe they have to stand up together. If they are as clean as they say they are, stand up together and say, we defend Maurice McCabe. We're not doing this anymore. We're betraying our pledge to the Irish people, which we sign when we leave, when we leave Templemore. We make a pledge to uphold law and order, to protect our citizens. They're not doing it. So I don't have a huge amount of sympathy for that.
I agree with you totally on that, and 100% on it. But you have to look at it. If they open their mouth, they're going to get what Maurice McCabe got. They're going to get vindicated. They're going to get. They'll be trying to
but I mean, the time comes in everyone's life where you have to say, well, let's come together.
Yeah,
they have their unions, and they can stand up. They will, Maurice has been vindicated completely by the public.
Yeah.
He's a hero. Nobody will touch him now. And they should follow his lead, because our streets are not safe. Citizens who take them on are not safe. It's a dangerous, dangerous country.
Totally agree with you.
So I'm not planning to set up my own newspaper, not at the moment. Thank you, though.
Hello, my name is Ronan, I'm a local man. I'd just like to ask Gemma first, is there truth in you standing for the presidency? I've seen this on local media. Before you answer it, I'd like to put you off it. I can't see, I agree with you 100% about getting rid of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, but I can't see our solution for the state the country is in. Nothing will convince me that our solution can be political. Absolutely, it's that corrupt. I agree with Seamus 100% that, if I can further develop what he's saying, we need a movement. We need someone or some people to get behind, because of the different aspects of what that lady was talking about vaccination. There's someone else, Coleman here, talking about corruption. There's so many fucking things, excuse me, that if there's not a movement, if corruption is not the sole target, we're at nothing, because I believe that the government, how they survive is because we're so disparate, if I can put it that way. And while I have the huge admiration for Hillary in what she's doing in Waterford, again, she's banging her head against a brick wall, because, it sounds great, and it's kind of a little bit embarrassing for local government that there's maybe 4,000 people on the streets, but there should be 20 or 30,000 in Waterford. And that's what local government won't like. They're okay with the figures that are there at the moment, that 4 or 5 or 6,000. You know, they can fob that off for a while. But they can fob the government too naturally can fob off every other movement. And again, like one of the speakers touched on it, you know, we could do so much when it came to water. Again, there was something like 80,000 people on the streets. I was on one of the marches in Dublin, and of course the media again, and blah blah blah, they say there's 10 or 20,000. But we could get upset about paying an extra few bob for water. But as far as I can see, our society has been absolutely, totally and utterly ripped apart from many angles, but the one aspect is corruption. And I think this country is crying out for someone or some group like yourselves. I've heard Coleman speaking before too. Maybe you could recruit him. He's a fantastic guy from Cork. A rebel, a true rebel. But that's what the country is crying out for, and we're not going to get a political solution. I agree with you 100% to try and get rid of Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael to some degree. But that's why I wouldn't like to see you go for the presidency, because I think you're far more powerful in this forum and in what you've been doing on social media. Okay, thank you.
First of all, I had no intention of getting up here to speak tonight, I have to say, but just in the last few minutes there, I've heard people. First of all, Colin Power is my name. I'm one of the victims of Bill Keneally in Waterford. Damien Tiernan. Damien Tiernan, as Hilary said, couldn't be here tonight for personal reasons. And when I hear people standing up and vilifying him or giving out about him, what he has done for us in the background since 2014, without looking for any kudos or publicity about it, has been absolutely fantastic. So it's very easy for ladies to stand up and give out about it. And that's what prompted me to speak. And there's other journalists as well, Gemma, to be fair. Again, it's similar to your point about all guards are bad. Look, I've met some very bad guards throughout our journey, I'll tell you that. Very bad politicians, very bad journalists. But there's good journalists like Saoirse McGarrigle, who I know you know. There's fantastic people, good politicians in Waterford as well as everywhere else. Darren Skelton is another one. You know, it's easy to say everybody is bad, everybody is corrupt. All guards are corrupt, all politicians. That's bollocks. They're not. There's good people in every walk of life. So it's not constructive, in my opinion, to be saying everybody is bad. And to the ladies up there, you know, who are looking for something to be done, we've been doing what we've been doing for 7 years. It's a long road, it's a different thing. But if you can get the right people behind you, they'll help you, they'll guide you, and they're out there. You just have to be lucky, I suppose, to find them. Everybody's not bad in every profession, but that's all. And I agree with this man here. If I was you, I wouldn't be running for presidency. I see Kitty Holland and all those are after you already in a big way. I think you'd do more in a general election rather than an ambassadorial role in the presidency. Thanks.
Good time for another? Yeah.
I just want to say I'm one of those water protesters, and we were vilified and insulted for standing up to prevent our water being privatised. And we had dealings with the guards as well, but we always recorded them, and they didn't like it. And I remember we went to court once, and there was a girl up. She was being accused of hitting the guard with a barrier. Now, I have a video that showed that she didn't. But the judge dismissed the case, but there was no sanctions taken against the guard for perjury. I mean, that's just one symptom of everything that's wrong with this country. We go to one word, it's accountability. There's no accountability for anybody, for anything. Whether it's Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, the guards, the judiciary, our system is broken, the social contract is broken. And I agree, it's not going to be solved by politics. I personally think if we had the numbers, we should be occupying Leinster House. We should be in there. We should be paying government to a standstill. All these things can be done if people get together, but it's very, very hard to get people out on the streets. Hillary will testify to that, and we know for ourselves from the water protests. We were the only ones there the whole time doing the same thing, except for the major demos. So I don't really know where we go from here. I was concerned about you running for president because I thought your voice would be silenced. But now I'm saying go for it.
Absolutely.
Go for it. But have amongst the pigeons and shake them up.
Yeah, I understand people's concern, but I do want to say tonight that I am going to run for the presidency. And it's not because it's me or anything. I don't have there's no ego behind this, and you can take it or leave it, believe me or not. It's the message that I want to send out. And I think we need a president who is standing up when citizens' rights are being denied to them. And, you know, I will have an uphill battle. Already I've been smeared by the media beyond belief. But that's not going to stop me, and I will seek a nomination, because the presidency is not only a ceremonial role. The presidency can send out a very strong message to government when citizens are suffering. And suddenly, all of a sudden, we have all these experts in the Constitution saying that the president can't do this and the president can't do that. The president can. Previous presidents have spoken out on issues that, you know, are political, to do with the diaspora, etc. And there's no reason why an Irish president